never done that before. Anyway, thank you. I'm so glad to see you on here today. This is phenomenal. I appreciate all of you that are on and listening, watching, whether it be live or in the replay. We talk about this being the Vision Alignment Show. And the Vision Alignment Show, again, it's all about helping people understand how important it is to have your core beliefs, your core values, even your core strengths aligned with your vision. Your vision can also be your purpose. So making sure that you have those all in line are really important. Now, we've got some really cool shows coming up in the future, but we have one really cool show to do today. And that's working with and talking with another friend of ours who's been on before. He is phenomenal when it comes to knowing his vision and knowing how to what do I want to say? Having his vision aligned with his core strengths. So without any further ado, I want to bring on our friend today, our friend always, Mr. Mark, the Sales Hunter.
Well, I'm glad I'm your friend always. So that's good. Good to see you, Brian. Great to see you.
I'm so glad you're on. I'm so glad you joined us today.
Yeah, I am too. We're gonna have a great conversation. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So tell me, Mark, before we get started, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
This morning. I mean, every day, I think my vision gets clearer and clearer because my vision is very simple. How do I influence and impact people? And to do that, I got to be incredibly humble. And to do that, I can never say that I've arrived, but it's a journey. And that's why I think my vision is just getting better every day in how I influence and impact people.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. If you want to hear more, stay right there. Mark, you taught us so much in that first minute. You know, having to be humble, having to be, all those things. How do you do it?
I am not perfect. I mean, we all go, but by the grace of God. Mm-hmm. And you have to realize that anything that I know, I'm learning from somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I was sharing this with somebody the other day. I said, if you really watch really smart people, they go into every situation just trying to learn something. They're always trying to learn something. Average people go into a situation, there's nothing to learn here. And so I'm not saying I'm a great person, but I just want to go into like this conversation right now. I'm going to learn something from you today, Brian. I know I'm going to learn something from you. And
I don't know.
Don't push your luck there. But what's that going to do? It's going to help me in my journey, in my walk of being able to influence and impact people. That's why I'm in sales. I'm in sales for one reason, because it's an occupation. I don't call it an occupation. I don't even call it a profession. I call it a lifestyle, because it gives me the opportunity to be in front of so many people. And the mission is, how do I influence and impact people? And if I can go to bed at night saying that I've influenced and impacted people positively, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. And that jazzes you when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, it gets you out of bed, right?
It does. It does. It really does. I mean, when I was preparing for yesterday, I always prepare. I always say tomorrow begins today. And I saw this on the schedule. I mean, we've been talking about this for a long, long time. I go, yeah, it's great. I'm going to connect again with Brian Wagner. And I wake up this morning and I was out for my run, and I'm kind of processing all the various things I got. And, this is the way that we be in the moment, because here's the whole situation. Life throws so many things at us so fast, so many ways. Mm-hmm. And I've really found multitasking is kind of like multi-thinking. It doesn't work. Right. And my whole objective is, how do I just be in the moment? Just be in the moment for that person, for that conversation, for that situation.
Yeah. That's important for us all to remember. I look at my own life and I think how important it is, and I think it's got to go back to your vision, right? It goes back to having your core beliefs, your core values aligned with your vision, man. That's the same thing.
It so is. And again, when they're aligned together, woe is me, the person who has a vision and a job that don't line up. Now, don't get me wrong. This does not mean that a welder is not aligned to their vision, because a welder, and I don't know why I chose that profession, but we'll just say a welder, still can have as their vision to be able to make beautiful things, to make things that are functional, workable, and along the way to have relationships and communication with people.
Mm-hmm.
Great. See, I firmly believe whatever profession you're in, we have the ability to interact with people. We interact with people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't play well individually. We learned that through COVID. Okay. We learned that. I mean, we play a lot better as a group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. I mean, you think about your waitress, how important it is for the waitress or waiter, how important it is for them to have their core beliefs and values and all that aligned with their vision. And their vision, yeah, sometimes they think, well, I'm just serving people. Just serving people. Oh my gosh, that's doing a lot.
Yeah, let's run with that for a second. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a classic example. You can't go into a Chick-fil-A and not have your attitude changed, right?
Yep.
You just can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the style, the communication, the culture of the people who work there.
Right.
And, you walk in and you're changed, and you leave and you're changed. See, so this is what I mean. Don't ever think that regardless of what you do, it could be, you could walk into a Starbucks and could be a barista who interacts with you. It could be whatever it might be. And it's amazing how it's those little subtle things that impact people. And this is the whole thing. If you stop and think about this, you could be having a terrible day. You could be having an absolutely terrible day. And you walk into Chick-fil-A and you leave there, not only, hey, having had a great chicken sandwich,
mm-hmm.
but you go there but you leave there with a different mindset. Wow. And they don't charge extra for that either.
Yeah, that's crazy. I agree. I think about that. I mean, for one, it makes me hungry. Two, I think, how do organizations do that?
Well, I think organizations do that because culture starts at the top. Now here's what I tell people. In fact, it was funny. I was talking with a company last week, and it's owned by two brothers, and they're about $500 million in sales. So they're pretty, and these two brothers have such a gregarious personality and opposites. I mean, opposite personalities. I mean, just crazy, but they're both gregarious. And as a result, the entire company has a gregarious, outgoing attitude. At the same time, I can talk to other companies where the ownership, the leadership is down. And wow, it just, it's interesting how businesses reflect their senior leaders, just as families, kids reflect their parents. Ooh, that's creepy, man.
Yeah.
At least you did a really good job with your kids. So.
Oh, come on. I'm sure you did well with your kids too.
I don't know. Don't talk to them. Okay.
Well, so that's interesting. You say that about the leaders and how important it is that they make that change. But I mean, do you think a lot of that has to do with the hiring practices?
Well, yes, I think it does, because again, it's amazing how people are attracted to organizations that are like that. This is going to be really crazy. Think about this for a moment. Let's go ahead and use Starbucks. You walk in and you look at the typical barista, and I don't want to stereotype, but who are the people who are most likely to apply for a job at a Starbucks? People who are like those people. Mm-hmm. If I walk into a Nordstrom's store, very high-end store, I see different types of customers. I see different types of employees. And as a result, what's attracted to that? I walk into a Penny's, or I walk into a Kohl's, and I see, again, it's amazing how commonality begins to align itself.
Mm-hmm.
We attract who we are like. Now, what does that mean as an individual? Well, I need all the help I can get. I need all the help I can get. So that means I want to be as attractive, and I'm not meaning that physically. I'm meaning that in terms of inviting and engaging.
And you got to be consistent, right? That's all part of it.
Boy. That's like this morning, my wife and I were talking, and I got upset. I blew it. And I'm like, wow, why was I upset? It's like, we just couldn't find a piece. We were looking for a piece of paper. It's like, and it is. But again, we have to be consistent. Wow, I'm revealing all of my inner
your secrets. Hey, and by the way, anybody that's online, if you want to comment, please put in the comments. Also, if you're online and listening live, put in hashtag live. Tell me where you're coming in from. If you're listening on replay, put in hashtag replay, and we'll do it that way. But anyway, thank you for that, Mark. I appreciate you being so vulnerable with us.
Well, because I mean, hey, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, you sit here and we can fake ourselves for 30 minutes on on a podcast show, but you can't fake your way through life. You cannot fake and again, life is full of ups and downs. That's why when we talk about vision, you have to have that vision anchored.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge I see is too many people have their vision anchored on what they're seeing on Facebook. Right. And then as a result, they just pivot, or they have their vision anchored on what somebody is saying on some show or Netflix or something like that. And I say, no. An anchor is something that doesn't move.
Right.
In good weather and foul weather. Think about that for a moment. Because again, I see people who have a vision in good weather, in good time. It's kind of like a leader. Anybody can lead when things are good. That's not leadership.
Mm-hmm.
That's just showing up, making it happen.
Yeah.
Leadership is what happens when times are tough. That's where we really make a difference.
Right. And again, remaining consistent with in time to tough times are good. Whatever's there from their core, they need to continue to lead with that.
That's huge. And stop and think about that. I think that's where kids are not a great example of being consistent, because they're all over the place. But they look for consistency in parents. Wow, they look for consistency in parents.
Right.
And when they don't see consistency in parents, that's what they go, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. We look for consistency in our bosses. We look for consistency. Why do we go to Chick-fil-A or to a particular restaurant? Because it's consistent.
You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Wow. How many times have we mentioned Chick-fil-A already today?
Interesting. So what do you do when you're with customers? You have coaching clients. You have clients as well. But what do you do with them? How do you help them from that perspective?
Well, you first of all just have to listen. You got to just take the time. Just don't. Think about this. If you walked into a doctor's office and even before the doctor saw you, they gave you a prescription, that would be malpractice. And I think that's the same way in conversations.
Right.
We have to go into any conversation and just listen. Just listen. It's so easy for us to be the person with a lot of words. Don't be the person with a lot of words. Don't.
Yeah.
I'd much rather say 10 words of value than 100 words of blather. And again, if my whole goal is when I meet with people, if I can leave them with one thought, one idea that they act on, that they can do something different with, then it's worked. If I'm sitting there trying to, prescribe 5,000 things, it's not, it's just not going to happen. It is just
the doorbell.
There goes the doorbell. You're right. Right.
So do you have, when you go into a conversation, do you have a prescribed list of questions that you're going to ask every client?
Not really. Not really. I just have a couple of questions that I want to understand their backs. Everybody's got a story. Everybody has a story, and I want to hear what their story is. And if I can learn what their story is and understand from them, then I can begin to shape the questions. But I don't want to walk in with a well, let me back this up a little bit, because I do have a little bit of method of the madness. I want to know, what's the outcome you're looking for? Where are you trying to get there? Why are you trying to get there? And what have you been doing in the past? So if I can understand those three, then I can begin to set the framework for what this is going to look like. Yeah.
Where do you want to go? What are the other two?
What's the goal you want to get to?
Yeah.
Why do you want to achieve that goal?
Okay.
And what have you been attempting in the past?
Okay.
Because if you think about that, that's because anybody can have a goal. I want to know why do you have that goal? I mean, just because you have a goal doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm sorry. That's more people set. There have been more unattained goals set in this world than have ever been goals that have been set and attained. I have no idea if that's true, but it sure sounds logical, right?
Yeah, it's got to be right. I'm sure you're right.
Yeah.
And by the way, we got somebody listening in here, our friend Amron. Amron saying, "Good morning, Amron. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing well. Glad to see you from Powell, Ohio. Thank you." So talk to me a little bit from my perspective. Take me as use case. You know, my goal is to have at least 2 bookings per month. You know, it's not a lot. 2 bookings per month when I'm going out and speaking for fee at different locations. So that allows me to continue to work at the School for the Blind, which is important to me, and allows me to be able to do my job. So that's really what I want, what I think I want, and my goal. So I'm wondering about the next part of it with why do I do it? I told you why I do it, because that's part of my mission.
I'm gonna push you even further there. Why is that your mission? See, here's an interesting exercise, and I teach this to salespeople also. When somebody shares with you something, you want to ask a question, go deeper. Then you ask another question, and you actually got to get 7 layers down before you really get to the gold. What is the real reason they're doing something? Now, we don't have time to do this here today, but if you stop and think about it, why do you want to speak a couple times a month? And begin unpacking those. And here's what I find. When we get down to the absolute goal that people have, then you can really help them craft a solution that they're looking for. I find this extremely beneficial with salespeople. Salespeople, for instance, there are some salespeople I will coach, and they're only in it for the money. They are only in it for the money. And I go, then you know what? Your train is going to run out. Your train is going to run out of steam pretty quickly, because that's not the reason to be in sales. And then I choose to say, I'm not going to work with that person. But when I talk with somebody who's in sales and why you in sales, and you begin drilling down, there's reasons and then you begin to say, okay, now this is something that we can build on. Now we can create a sales culture for you personally, and a sales culture that you extend to your customers. That's making a difference.
How does that make you feel when you make that kind of difference?
I don't know. I mean, I'm coaching a lady right now, for instance. She happens to be an insurance salesperson, and she is selling insurance purely because she has an extreme affinity to be helping doctors, because she came out of some she had some extreme medical conditions that she came through. And she saw the different side of the medical profession, side that she absolutely fell in love with. Doctors who absolutely align themselves to patients and cared for patients. And that's why she's in insurance, because she says it allows me to participate in this field that I've really have come to appreciate and value. And I can help them. I can help them do what they do. And she's an absolutely fun person to coach, because then you can share ideas and share strategies, and she picks up on them. And see, there's always multiple reasons for every reason why we do something.
Mm-hmm.
We got to find out what are those multiple reasons. And when we do, then it's because here's the whole thing. In sales, I always say nobody wants to be sold, but people say, oh, people only want to buy. I don't even think they want to buy. What they want is they want an outcome. They want to achieve something.
Right.
They want to achieve something that's going to help them with their vision, say. So the more I can understand what their vision is, the better off I can help them. Because if I don't understand what their outcome is, this is why I say, and this is really weird, it's really not so much why I sell. I mean, what I sell. It really isn't so much what I sell. It's why I sell. Because, and that's not to take a line away from Simon Sinek, but it's why I sell.
Right.
I want to influence and impact people.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool reason to get up in the morning, right?
Yeah. So when you say you want to impact people, you want to be able to impact how they sell, how they have relationships, because there's so much of this has to do with relationships. How people show up for relationships is it's got to be one of the biggest areas of struggle, but also the biggest area of success for a lot of people.
It is. I mean, it's funny. I'm working with a company right now that just announced a major. They secured a large round of funding. And it's been absolutely a kick working with the CEO, the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, the VP of Sales, and others in the company, because I'm watching them achieve their dream. And that's an absolute kick in the pants. And because their vision, the product that they happen to make, absolutely is a game changer out there in the marketplace. So not only do they have a great product, but their whole methodology and how they're going about it. Now, do I line up 100% with how they're doing it? No.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. That's okay. If I were to choose to only line up with people who are 100% like me, Mark Hunter,
yeah,
I wouldn't have any business.
True.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, it's not to say that life is full of compromises, but our greatest impact occurs if you think about it. What is sandpaper? It's a rough edge being rubbed against something. And what does it do? It smooths it out. So to a certain degree, in every conversation we have, in every relationship we have, there has to be a little bit of conflict. Because what does it do? It creates a better outcome. It creates something better. That includes the wait staff that is waiting on you, that recommends, hey, you should try this dressing instead of this dressing, or maybe try this on your entree instead of this. Yeah.
Good. It's good. And our friend Mark Gasser is listening in as well. So good morning, Mark, from Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Hey, and Mark is a great first name. Let me tell you. I like Mark.
Oh, yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, that's interesting. So, I think it makes me really look at sandpaper a lot differently. And the value that I get from sandpaper, the value I get from those interactions that are maybe sometimes difficult.
Well, it is. And again, let's use a parent relationship. You're raising your kids. You may want to try to be their best friend, but no. You're their parent, and you create friction. But what does that do? it ultimately creates a better child,
Right.
a better adult.
Yeah.
That's that's really what we do in everything that we do. Because if I can't add something positive, what am I doing? I'm not, I'm not making an impact. Uh, I'm just saying. So I mean, let's come back to this whole vision piece. This whole vision piece is at the end of the day, can you sit there and say that the conversations you've had today made those people better? Made those people better. And if you can say that the conversations you had made those people better, then guess what? You've had a good day. If you look at it and say, "Wow, I didn't leave them in a better position." And better position doesn't necessarily mean they agree with you. They may not agree with you, but you shared it, and this is the fact, and you know, um, then it's okay.
But sometimes we get so stuck in our own heads with how am I making this person's day better? What have I done to make it better? I'm not really sure. You kind of argue with yourself sometimes. You get that imposter syndrome. How do you get over that?
Well, it is. I mean, believe me, the most difficult sale we ever make is to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with this all the time. I mean, I mean, I was looking at my calendar yesterday and again this morning. I said, I don't know how I can get all this stuff done. And that's that voice inside of you saying you can't get it all done. And yet, you know what? You got to take the approach that there is a way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
There is a way to get it done. So don't sit there and have this defeatist attitude that you can't get it done. It will work out. Last I saw, the sun still came up this morning. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking outside this window here and the sun it's pretty bright. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, this is this whole thing that we can allow ourselves to be overcome with self-doubt. And that's what cloudies up our vision. That's what I think holds people back from having the vision that they can have, because they feel like they can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do this.
And you have those self-limiting beliefs, and you have blind spots. Things you can't see.
Right. You have blind spots that you can't see. And the reason you have blind spots is because you haven't aligned your thinking to say that you can power your way through this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. I got to look at my schedule and I say, wait a minute, I can get this all done. It will work out. And just that in and of itself, taking a positive approach to it, man,
yeah,
changes everything. Yeah.
Mark and Jay Jensen.
Oh, Jay Jensen, South Dakota. Hey, I love Jay. Jay, how you doing, man? We haven't talked in a long time.
How do you know Jay?
How do I know Jay? I had lunch with Jay about 4 years ago in Sioux City, Iowa. But he's been a follower. We've talked back and forth on LinkedIn for years. So great guy.
Awesome. Well, hey, Mark, I can't believe it, but our time is gone already. I don't know where it went, but I'm going to give you a little bit of your day back and help me. I'll allow you to get some things done, because I know you've got a big list.
But you know what? The day is all about how do we influence and impact people. So that's what it is. And I know you've got stuff on your calendar today. And what are you going to do? You're going to influence and impact people. And the biggest thing is we can't allow obstacles. They're all self-inflicted. We put ourselves, we limit our own thinking because, I can't do this. I can't do that. Yeah. And I look at what you're able to accomplish and the impact you're able to make. It's significant. It's huge. That is changing people's lives. That's cool.
Thank you. And thank you for being on today. I know the entire audience loves what you've said so far. If you would go and hang out in the green room for me, I'm going to be there in a minute, but I'm going to close out the show.
You got it. I'll be there.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. And Mark, take care.
You bet.
All right. Bye. Oh, what a great show again today with Mark Hunter. Phenomenal resource, phenomenal guy, phenomenal sales guy. I mean, relationship guy. so fortunate to have people like him that come on to this show and add value to all of us. So we've got another great show coming up next Monday. So be here next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern for that show, and we're going to talk more. I think that our show is going to be more based on disabilities. So we're going to talk a little bit more about disabilities and how they impact all of us. So having said that, I appreciate all of you being on today. And as always, remember to just keep one eye on the road. Take care. Bye.